Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another great Super Cool Radio interview. I'm your host, as always, Matthew Thomas. Thank you so much for tuning in. I have an incredible guest joining me at this time. He has been the drummer for Fu Manchu since 2002, and on September 29th, he released his own solo album entitled Lights Out on the Shore under the name Jacket Thief. Please welcome Scott Reeder.
Ba-da-da-da-da-da. That's my theme music. I worked it up.
Oh, no, right on. I like it.
All right.
Well, it's awesome to have you on the show. Thank you so much for hanging out with me.
Yeah, man, no problem. Good.
So I know we got
morning.
quite a bit to discuss. Obviously, you have the new album that we're going to talk about. But before we get to talking about Jagged Thief, I had a question for you that I've been asking my guests this season. If you could have dinner with any two musicians through history, living or deceased, who would they be?
That's a heavy one. Obviously, I would probably have to choose John Bonham, just for the drummer side, and I'd like to say Eddie Van Halen, but for some reason I don't think him and John Bonham would get along. So I'll say Bruce Dickinson, because I think they'd be an interesting dichotomy. One guy that's like, very very educated and blah blah blah. Not that Bonham wasn't educated, but he's more of a country man, or so I've read. So I think those two, I think they could sink a few pints between them. Keep me entertained.
Definitely. That would be a very interesting dinner. Two great picks, two legendary musicians, obviously, and I think that would be a fun dinner to say the least.
Yeah, two Englishmen. Now, as a fairness to my own land that I live in, I think I should pick an American version. So I would say Eddie and Alex.
Nice.
Together.
All right. I like you went British side and American side as well.
Yeah, only because I'm sure that I wouldn't have to do much talking if Ed and Alex were there, because they'd probably just crack each other up the entire time and make fun of me, which would be great. So
it sounds like a fantastic dinner.
Yeah. Fantastic time, man. Fantastic.
Exactly. All right, so now obviously a huge reason I am chatting with you now. So you released a new solo album, "Lights Out on the Shore," under the name Jacket Thief. So before we start talking about the album, so how did Jacket Thief come together?
The project itself was just some songs that I had been kind of working on for quite some time, and just ideas and things that I had, and I kind of just found myself with a bunch of time, and I think I was ready. I had all the demos together, and so I was like, well, now's the time. I better do it now. And I didn't even really know if it would turn into a record. I was like, maybe I'll do 3 or 4 songs and just kind of see, where they go. And having never done anything, I demoed everything myself, except for the guitars, which I would send the demos to Bob, kind of like we do with the Sun and Sail stuff. And sometimes with Fu Manchu stuff, he'll just have a bunch of riffs and he'll be like, hey, play some beats on this. So we send stuff back and forth. And so I demoed the songs and I was like, hey, this is kind of, it's not really the stuff that we normally do, but would you play on it? And Bob likes all kinds of music. I mean, he loves, everything from Jazz Cabbage to David Gilmour to Circle Jerks, so he's, his influences are about as wide as mine are. So he did great stuff. And then I went to Ryan Mall and checked out his studio. I had some friends that had done records there at the studio. And it's basically just his garage in his backyard. But I mean, he works in and out of different studios, in LA and stuff when he's working on bigger projects, and just all over the place. Sorry, my dog sees horses; it freaks her out.
No worries, no worries.
It's funny because she'll see a horse in real life and won't do anything, but then she sees one on TV and it gets crazy. Hey,
so only on the TV?
Yeah, she barks at horses on the television. She's got this weird thing where like she can sense let's say you're watching, Goodfellas, and like the main heavy of the scene walks in the room, she'll be like, ooh, doing this. So she's just got this weird. It's a dog thing, right? Okay. So yeah, so we did a couple songs, and it turned out really good. And then I was like, well, damn, I have all these other songs, and I played him the demos, and he's like, yeah, let's do it. So we just did Saturdays when we could, because he was busy. Fu Manchu was still recording our 10 inches, that we were doing with the 3-song stuff. So we were going in the studio, we'd finish one, we'd work on the next batch of songs, we'd finish that, and we'd work on the next batch of songs and finish that. So in between all that time, I was, doing that and doing whatever else I do.
So how long, like, from starting the project did then completion of the album?
It was actually I started it 2021 at the beginning, and I finished it. It was mastered at the beginning of this year. So, if I had done a straight line of just going in and doing it, it would have took me 2 weeks. But we did it in 14 sessions, but we would do a song a day, basically, so we did, 12 sessions, 12 songs. A couple of them were instrumentals. Actually, the first song on the record, Flying Too Low, that was an instrumental too. And I just came up with lyrics for that kind of at the last minute because I couldn't figure out the running order of the record. It didn't sound right with 2 instrumentals. And then I went back and, I had it titled anyways and then I just kind of wrote the lyrics around the title, and it seemed to make sense. So yeah, we did 12 sessions, and then I think we did a couple of days maybe for overdubs and just kind of vocal fixes and stuff. But yeah, it was basically a song a session.
Oh, right on. So was it a different experience recording that way compared to other bands and projects you've been a part of?
Yeah, I'd never done it all myself, so I'd never, other than making the demos or just doing ideas that I've had on my own before. I didn't, I did not have any experience playing all instruments, singing everything. I've sang background, and I've sang a couple of songs. I think I did some stuff on the Sun and Sail record with Tony, just kind of trading off some stuff, but nothing lead, and definitely nothing that was harmony based. And a lot of that stuff was really Ryan kind of going, we could do a third part there and it would sound kind of cool. And not knowing if I, could do a high harmony or something like that. But, he made it really comfortable, especially, vocals are probably, I would think for most people, unless you're a singer and you do it all the time and you're comfortable with it, it's the hardest part, really, because you gotta, you really gotta emote in some way, but also make yourself feel comfortable. And, so the way he did it was really cool. And he just, it wasn't like the normal thing where you're doing a vocal and the engineer is kind of looking at you and you're, his back turned, and he set up a Sennheiser mic with no pop shield on it. And I just kind of sang. I sing in a cover band too sometimes. And so I was used to that. And so I was able to kind of sing and use, not have to just do this with my headphones, but sing, listen, use my body for breathing, and really kind of get up into ranges that I, sometimes can get up into, but not very easily.
No, I got you for sure. So was there a learning, you said you're doing the instruments and singing, was there any kind of learning curve, with Jacket Thief?
Everything is, every time you go in the studio, you got to learn something. It's weird. It's there's things that you do, every time you go in that you find yourself doing that you forget that you did before. You're like, oh, that's right, we have to do this too, but then, there's always got to be new things that you're attuned to, and so especially fooling with effects, Brad Davis, our bass player in Fu Manchu, he builds these great effects pedals called Creepy Fingers, and they're fuzz pedals, sugar boost pedals and things like that. And he built a specific pedal around the time of this record called the Blue Mood, which was a sort of a replica of, if you're familiar with the Moody Blues, Justin Hayward's guitar fuzz sound that he used to get in the 70s was like a Marshall Super Lead, or Marshall Super what? I think that's what it's called. Brad would know. But anyways, it wasn't really a pedal. He would just overdrive the amp. And so you'd have these kind of lush songs. And then he'd come in and he'd do these harmonies. I told you I'm not awake. And I just made a new word. And he'd do these harmonies with his guitar, and they'd be super fuzzed and like, almost sounding like Bumblebee kind of stuff. So Brad made this pedal. And so it was definitely something that, I wanted to use on the record. It's on Daylight Apparitions. It's the guitar harmony parts that are on the end of As She Drifts. Those are all done with that pedal. And anything that I could play that I could use it on, I would do. But Bob did most of the leads. And so, I had never recorded guitar parts for anything ever, So to have to do all the rhythm guitars, and, we did stuff where we layered rhythm guitars. There's some stuff where there's acoustics and guitars together, just kind of making it sound really full, because it's one guy. So if I ever play shows, I'm going to be screwed because I have to hire like 5 people to do all this shit. But I guess that's what pedals are for. So yeah, it was definitely a learning experience. I don't play bass, so I had to learn the bass parts. And, it's like I play drums primarily. I play a lot of guitar around the house. I have guitars sitting around, from acoustics to electrics and stuff. I sing, and bass is like a 4th instrument, So it's actually probably even a 5th, because I used to play piano when I was a kid and screw around with that. So, I can sit down and kind of like map out chords and stuff. And but bass is like a friggin', it's a strange animal. But great respect to the people, that I've been in bands with that know the instrument and can hear it. And big learning experience for all that stuff.
No, it's really interesting. You had to learn how to play the bass for you can obviously play on this album. So it's just so cool. And again, like what you said, you have to learn everything. You have to learn new stuff when you go into the studio, and you definitely did with this album.
Yeah, I demoed, like I said, everything was demoed, so the bass parts were already kind of there, but I had to go back and listen to the demos because I didn't know what I played. And I really just tried to keep foundation, because some of these songs are in open tunings, and they're not standard tunings. So, I think if you kind of stay within a lower register on the bass, it actually suits it pretty well. But, I did find myself playing stuff, high up the neck, and Ryan would kind of guide me and go like, maybe try something up there, because we have the lower stuff taken care of with the, the rhythm guitars. So it was super educational. Anybody wants to take a crash course, and, that it turned out the way it did. It's funny because I was listening to a couple of songs that I had demoed maybe 3 or 4 years ago that I didn't record for this. They were just ideas. And I did the same thing where like I played everything. I think my friend Michael Rosas, who co-wrote a couple songs on this, he maybe played some bass on it. And I was listening to those 2 songs the other day and seeing if they were any good. I'm like, wow, these songs are actually pretty good still. But then I was like, I remember when I did them, I listened back to the tracks and I hated everything. I was like, I hate my voice. I hate, and it's just, I think everybody's like super critical of their own stuff. And you're your own worst critic, of course. And I remember thinking at the time, I'm like, how the hell am I ever going to do a record if I don't like any of this stuff? And then here we are. So,
No, I totally feel it. And like sometimes I'll watch back like some of my old interviews and go, man, That's just horrible. I didn't do a good job with that. But then, like, after a while, you kind of get used to it and you kind of progress from there. And you're like, oh, okay, that was better and that one's better. But yeah, I totally feel you about being self-critical. Like, I think I'm the worst, on myself, just because I know me.
Yeah. Well, the good thing is that, I have enough people around me that are actually ridiculously talented and good at what they do. And so, I would send them demos of songs and go like, is this a song? I mean, my goal really with this, and I think just going forward, is whatever, I would do in a project like this, I would want to be able to sit in a room with a guitar and actually play you the songs and have them be songs. Because I would like, obviously if somebody else hears them, to go like, oh, I'd like to do that song, if they like them, but it has to be a song. It can't just be a bunch of noise and, loops and effects and stuff. Not that there's anything wrong with that, because I love noise and loops and effects. And, obviously, like, I'm in a noisy rock band, so.
That is true. Now, I do got one more thing about Jacket Thief, then I do got a few other questions to work in as well. But so I'm curious, so like, what's the plans for Jacket Thief going forward? Will we hear new music? Will there be live shows? Like, any plans at this time for Jacket Thief?
I'm just starting to think about live shows. I think I would like to have a bit more material before doing that, and I'm actually working on some new ideas for stuff right now. I've got a ton of ideas, but stuff that's maybe about, 5 or 6 things that I like so far. So that's a good starting point, and I just have to kind of flesh those out. So yeah, I would like to do that. There might be, a couple of remixes of some things by different people that I'm kind of talking to. And as far as, live shows, I'm not sure yet. I just, I don't want to get up there with a guitar and a pedal and do a bunch of stuff. I want to actually like try and, play the stuff. But if I do that, it would be, definitely just for fun. I'm not going to go out there and try and tour or anything like that. That's kind of ridiculous at this point. But yeah, it's really just a vehicle to keep writing songs and to not really, because there's different styles on the record. I think I just wanted to set a precedent that there's no really set genre for it, so I could, whatever I come up with, if I think it kind of fits the mold, I'll put it in there, but it's definitely, it's going to be a vehicle for me to hopefully write with other people, and do songs that are just, different than the normal thing that I do. Because I get my hard and heavy and my fuzzy from there, and I'm happy with that. I love it, of course,
Oh no, for sure. I totally got you. I was really digging the album just because of how how diverse the album is. Like, you have some like fuzz rock in there, you got some acoustic, you got an instrumental. It was very diverse with the genre of the music, and I was really digging it.
That's great. Yeah, and I wanted it. Again, it's kind of like, I am from and still in that mindset of, an album has to be an album. It has to have a flow. It has to have and it actually turned out in a way kind of cinematic, and if you listen to the whole thing, there's definitely like it's got cohesiveness, which is important, I think.
Oh no, it definitely does, and it is important for the album, because like when I listened to it, I was like, well, that feels complete. Like when you listen to it, I like, it has that feeling to it, and that's what I really liked about it.
Yeah, and I think that a lot of people that are into vinyl and into stuff like that, if you are in tune with what that, the art form is actually, the artist always pays. I'm an artist. I paint houses. No, I'm just kidding. It's like the second song on side 2 has to be a certain song. The first song on side 2 has to be a certain song. You could either have, 4 songs on side 2 where the first one is a super long one. There's been albums like that. The last song, depending on what it is, it can be very important, or it could just be like, a throwaway, but it's a finale. You have to have a finale of some sort that is the last good, and that, it's like that song was definitely like, As She Drifts. I really wanted that to just kind of expand and float out and, use the imagery of the lyrics as repeating as something is just kind of like receding from you, So we were thinking when we were doing that stuff of, visually, what is this? Does it represent something? And so there's quite a bit of thought going into it. And I'm happy that people have said they like the lyrics, they like that kind of stuff, because I think it just means that they can tell that, that stuff was paid attention to.
So for you, do you have a favorite song off the album?
I think my favorite song would probably be, I like Furs and Fires a lot. Just because it's, I don't know. It came out the best. The 3-part harmony thing. I love the bridge in that song and where it goes. I'd really like to play that song live and just kind of stretch it, at the end. I love that repeating sort of triplet thing that Bob does on the guitar. For the harder ones, I mean, I really like, I like Stitch in Time. I've always liked the title track just because I love the tuning that it's in. It's in this weird dad fact tuning, so it just kind of like strum and drone, And so I think those three probably are my favorite,
All right, my favorite off was definitely the title track. It was cool. Like I came home from work one day and it's like, I don't know, I didn't have a great day at work, so I was like, I was just putting the album on. I was finishing my notes, and I'm like, man, I was just really vibing with it, and I really enjoyed it.
That's great. Yeah, I mean that song too is like, it's one that like is just it's about just kind of like, finding your finding your own way and doing things yourself, and I mean that's kind of the theme of it, and just kind of, again, there's this, I don't know, it wasn't planned, but there's this ongoing theme throughout the record that turns up about like water and surfacing and the air you breathe, and trying to like get there yourself, and just even when things are just kind of rough, you're just kind of leaning in and just going like, okay, I've got to find it's about really finding a compass is what it is, and everybody's got to have their true north, I guess, whatever that may be, so that's mine.
Right on. No, for sure. Everyone's got to have some type of compass and true north that, that motivates them, to go forward. So definitely. So now I do just got a few more things to discuss, then we wrapping this interview up pretty soon. But I'm curious, so switching over to Fu Manchu for a little bit, if you don't mind.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have a favorite Fu Manchu song to perform live?
Ooh, wow, that's a hard one. I mean, I always love, of the more recent stuff, I really like playing, Clone of the Universe. I love that song. I really liked when we were doing the long instrumental, the El Mastro Atomico. I liked that one because that just really, I listened back to it, and I remember when we finished it, and we just, we listened a few days after everything was, mixed and mastered and everything, and just going, damn, we pulled it off, And so I loved playing that song because it actually, like, even though it was very structured in parts, there was definitely like, it changed when we played it live. There was parts of it that definitely like it became a different thing. So I love that. But then like I love Boogie Man. I love playing like stuff from the very first record. I love playing like Ojo Rojo and Superbird and those kind of things. Because it's cool to be in a band that you were a fan of, and then you have two drummers before me that were so different stylistically. Ruben Romano, was more, in a way, kind of like a Bill Ward type drummer, and then Brandt, of course, is just, straight, meat and potatoes. And then I'm kind of all over the place. So it's like, I listen to both of those guys and try and like fit somewhere in between, and so it's really cool to play all that stuff, those are probably my favorites to play live,
No, you list some great songs. Boogie Man, one of my favorites. So
yeah.
It's just killer. It's just killer.
Yeah, it's a groove, and it's like I mean, I really like, I also like to play Hung Out to Dry when we do that, because I like to like just, I figured out this thing, and I was just talking to a student about it, of just how to kind of like lay a foundation, and you can really change the course of how, people react to stuff if you just lean a little bit on a certain note. And that particular song, I can do it, and I can see people's heads do this, and it's kind of like you're kind of a puppet master. So,
that's
I like
awesome. That's awesome, and they have just got kind of skill, and also to actually that it's just work. It works because it's human nature for that that kind of stuff. So that's cool.
It's funny, yeah, because you don't, I remember struggling with that song, playing it live, and going like, how come this doesn't feel like it doesn't feel like it does on the the studio version. And I'm like, it's either we're playing it too fast or something. And then I realized that it was me, and if I kind of leaned the quarter note a little bit on the ride, and I slowed it down just a little bit, that I just saw people just start doing this, and I'm like, that's it. That's the fucking pocket right there, And that's an overused word. Oh, he's in the pocket, It's like people say that and they don't really know. I think, it's just the pocket is when you move. So
exactly. No, it is overused, but for your use of it, you're right on point with that.
I try.
Hey, that's all you can do. That's all you can do.
Sometimes you gotta lean it,
Exactly. Hey, every time I wake up, like, hey, let's try today. That's all I say.
Yeah, try to get down the stairs.
Exactly. Or just get out of bed. Try to get out of bed.
Land on the feet. There you go.
Exactly. All right. So, for Fu Manchu, so what are the plans for the rest of this year, 2023, and how is early 2024 looking like for Fu Manchu?
We're going in the studio beginning of November to start the new record. So we basically spent this year, we just, we have to do this thing where we go like, okay, we're writing, and because we all four of us get in a room together, it's not like somebody comes with, this is a song, it's done. Okay. So we get in a room and we work out parts, and so we've done that. It's going to be a double album. So we're going to do, not sort of the traditional double album. We have kind of an idea for it. At least it'll be a double vinyl. And we're going to try to do some stuff that's a little bit, dare I say, weirder than what we've done before. But without straying too far from what, we all like, and kind of what makes people like us, I guess. I really don't know what makes people like us. It's a mystery. I mean, I have an idea, but you can never second guess that. So yeah, we're going in the studio beginning of November. That's happening. I believe we're actually doing a show on October 22nd. It's a tribute to a friend of ours that passed away named Otis Bartholomew. He was a big fixture in the San Diego music scene, big fixture in punk rock. There's pictures of him in the audience at the Cuckoo's Nest here in Costa Mesa when Black Flag played there back in the 80s. I mean, everybody knew He was just, his friends with Pearl Jam, friends with Blink, friends with whoever, he just guitars. And I mean, he's the guy who came up with the name Jacket Thief, because there was an incident where he thought I stole his jacket. So that's what he called me forever. And so he passed beginning of this year, unfortunately. And so we're doing a tribute show to him on October 22nd in San Diego. And then we're doing I think it's called the Suburban Clampdown with the Adolescent 7 Seconds, Garden Grove Amphitheater, December 1st. And then we have a show in January, I think, here at Costa Mesa, probably another one right after that. Maybe a desert show. And then when the record comes out, we'll be doing the, European festivals and USA stuff. Most likely, because of the way the touring is now, we're being so fragmented and just the way things need to go. I mean, it's probably going to stretch, I would imagine, into the next year,
Yeah, probably. with how everything's going. Yeah.
We have some reissues coming out at the beginning of the year. I think we're reissuing. Actually, this year I think we may be reissuing the live record, "Go For It Live," and then we have a thing that we're doing with all of the 10 inches, where that's been resequenced into an album, and we're going to be releasing that. And that's a cool record store day thing for Europe, actually, but we'll have it in the States too. Kind of a special thing that we put together. And, we didn't want to just go, here's all 3 of them in order. We kind of resequenced them so it's like an album and it flows with the covers and stuff. And so it's pretty gnarly. There'll be a lot of music from us like in the next few months. And then the Sun and Sail Club is doing a record as well. Right now, Tony's just finishing vocals on that. So yeah, there's a lot of stuff going on. It's all sort of, coalescing at the same time.
No, it definitely is. I know, definitely keeping you busy for sure with everything. But I definitely look forward to the more new music, and hopefully seeing you live at some point. I think it'll be awesome.
Yeah. That's hopefully I can get my act together, or get the act together. Hey, we're getting the act together, man. And it'd be nice to go out and have get 4 guys that I know and play. And just have some people that can stretch and actually, if I got to stand up there with a guitar and sing, I got to learn some stuff. So learn to control the nervous sphincter while you're on stage. Oh, wait, that set went by like that, man. Oh, okay.
No, definitely, for sure. I
got to find somebody who can play drums slow. Because if they're like kicking me in the ass, I'm going to be like, hey, man. Chill. We gotta stretch all this material. So yeah,
you can't play guitar. You can't play guitar and drums at the same time.
I don't want to do that. I don't want to play the drums and sing either, because this stuff kind of requires that you belt some stuff, And so I just when you're sitting down and you're drumming, it's like I see people that sit down and record vocals, and I'm like, you're compressing the diaphragm where you got to sing from, and I'm like, that doesn't seem to work. But I don't know, some people do it well. So
no, it depends on someone's body type. Normally, yes, it does. It compresses everything together, so you don't get as much airflow. But if it works for some people, it works.
Yeah, as a friend of mine was fond of saying, "To each his own, or someone else's, bitch."
I'm gonna have to start using that. That's good. That's a good line.
That was one of his sayings. He had a list of just stuff. He would walk in there. How you doing? Oh, just a fat guy looking for a slice of cheese. I hope somebody puts them all. There's a lot of them that are very un-PC. So I'd be like, all right on, dude. And only he could get away with it. This guy's a legend.
I hope there's a list that's out there somewhere, because those sound
is.
Awesome.
It's been circulating amongst us, and we're reading some of the stuff, and I'm like, damn, he actually would say that, wouldn't he? Damn.
So, and how would you respond to some of the non-PC stuff?
You got to laugh, man. That's what you got to do. You just got to laugh, and just anything. I think anything's funny as long as you're not an ass. And
true.
We're all assholes, so that's what are you gonna do? You gotta laugh,
Exactly.
Treat people good, and have a laugh.
Exactly. I like that. And I think that it's a good way as we're starting to close out this interview. So real quick, if anyone's interested, what are the best places to find Jacket Thief online?
Well, the vinyl is for sale at Bandcamp. You can get it through me. The signed copies are pretty much gone, but there are some that are left for the USA only, and then the rest of the world is Cargo Music. And then it's on, every streaming platform in the universe that you can listen to. Buy it if you can. Keep it in your phone. Share the music. Let people know about it. And I'd like people to listen to it all the way through, but 1 song at a time, 3 songs, I don't care. So it's out there, though. It's everywhere.
Very good. I will leave some links for you and Jacket Thief in the description of this podcast. Please check out and support Scott. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. I had a fantastic time chatting with you.
Cool, man. Thanks. Yeah, thanks for being my my coffee accompaniment this morning.
Hey, no problem, no problem. Always a pleasure. For Scott Raider of Jacket Thief, I'm your host always, Matthew Thomas. Thank you so much for watching and listening to Super Cool Radio. And remember, stay frosty.
Stay frosty.